National D-Day Memorial in Bedford runs on about 100 volunteers and the time they give back. One man in particular found his way there in retirement, but the connection he made to D-Day started at birth. Dick Elder volunteers once a week at the National D-Day Memorial. He walks tour groups around the property, detailing the story of June 6, 1944.
You can't see it from where we are, but the dark blue above us is the beaches of France.
But for him, the history of that day is personal. His father took part fighting, but Elder never got to meet his dad.
My father participated in D-Day, so I've always been interested in what happened there. Sadly, he was killed shortly after D-Day, so I never really got to talk to him, but I was interested in finding more, bought books, and when I moved to Virginia, I found that the memorial was here.
So for Elder, learning about Operation Overlord has meant learning about his dad. He showed up for volunteer orientation nearly a decade ago and keeps coming back week after week.
This felt like a place I should be.
Elder has led hundreds of tours around this memorial. Learning recently in an email, he's left quite an impact on visitors.
They remembered my story about my dad, and they said at the time that if we ever go to Normandy, we will go visit your father's grave. So I wrote him back and gave him all the details and thanked him for that.
About 60,000 people visit the National D-Day Memorial each year to learn for themselves the sacrifice made in the world's largest ever air, land, and sea operation. It's a huge part of our history, but the memorial has connected Elder to his family history, even leading him to a man who knew his late father.
He knew my father and admired him so much that he named his son after my father.
What was that like for you?
Pretty emotional. Yeah, it was like, wow. The D-Day Memorial really helps connect people and helps us remember what happened.
Even if you never knew those in uniform. 10 News will cover Thursday's 75th anniversary, and it will be streamed live on our website, WSLS.com. Then at 7 o'clock, we'll share the stories of those whose lives were changed by the historic event.